Welcome to the SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast and video blog. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. Jim Wasak couldn't make it today, but I'm interviewing Elliot Hershik from Supporting Strategies, Chicago Far West Suburbs. And today we're going to talk about managing the growth of your business. So thanks for being with us today, Elliot.
Kevin, thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Tell me about your background, what you do, and how you help people.
Well, my background is I have a degree in economics, but at some point I segued into being an accountant. Eventually I went back to school for a few courses and sat and passed the CPA exam because to be taken seriously as an accountant, I felt I needed that step because, as I said, my degree is in accounting. I started as a bookkeeper during college, was my second work-study job.
And you were a college kid? You were doing books?
I was doing books.
A 35-year-old business owner, I can barely do books, and probably not. Barely is being generous.
You know, the funny thing about colleges are once you get past the classrooms and you get past the student union, there's a whole back office going on back there. So I was working in the college's accounting department with the accountants.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
So I've been doing books for a while.
Cool. So tell me about Supporting Strategies. What is it?
Supporting Strategies is the business I have with my wife and partner, Dawn Hershik.
And Dawn is awesome. You guys are both members of the Naperville Business Lounge, and
yes.
I've really enjoyed getting to know you both.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's been a good run, and we're looking to continue that. We picked up a franchise that worked well for both of us to be in business. I handle the operations side, the client delivery, and Dawn handles business development, and it was a nice fit for us to strike out on our own.
So tell me what Supporting Strategies does for clients.
Sure. We start the conversation with bookkeeping, handling the actual day-to-day recording of the transactions in the business, and we take it further there because the people we have who've been doing this for a while and are accountants, many have degrees in accounting, CPA certificates, MBAs. We can go beyond what people think of typically when the word bookkeeper is mentioned. Not only do we record the transactions, we make sure that they're in the right buckets so that the business owner has good information, and we can help them analyze what's going on within their business. It's kind of funny. Everyone talks about Google Analytics for your marketing. They want all kinds of data and they want to look at it. But a lot of business owners don't think about doing the same thing with their financial statements for their business. And that's at least as important as just the marketing part.
So you can, not only do you do the bookkeeping, get everything into QuickBooks or wherever you put it, you'll also spit out some reports for people and kind of help guide people and tell people, here's, your business made money 3 months in a row but it didn't make money this month, here's the problem, you diagnose the problem.
We help them analyze that. We can say, hey, by the way, you're still making money, but did you know that this set of costs is increasing faster than your revenues? Was that something you planned for, or do we need to look at what's going on here?
Okay. That's a great service you provide.
Thank you, yes.
So, we'll talk offline because, like I said, I am not very good at bookkeeping. So tell me, our topic today is managing growth, and you kind of mentioned the theme from Michael Gerber's EMyth book, which anyone who listens knows is like my favorite business book.
Right.
Which is working on your business and not in your business. So, tell me about, what are your thoughts on managing growth? And
well, from a personal side, we've experienced this firsthand, right? I no longer want to be the best bookkeeper in our business. I need to segue to being the best manager of the bookkeepers we have.
Right.
And I think a lot of the small business owners we work with and that we see in our travels have the same issue. You go into business because you have this great idea and you think this is going to be terrific and we can help people and make money at the same time and achieve some level of satisfaction. But then the reality of running a business hits, and it's a different skill set.
Yeah.
And you need that skill set in a business. Now, you have to figure out, are you going to develop that skill set? Or are you going to hire somebody who has that skill set so they can manage and report to you? and you can continue to be a great doer of whatever your business does, right? Most people don't get in business to do their own books, as an example.
Right.
We got in business to do other people's books because I'm an accountant and I'm like that. But most people don't do that. They get in business to do whatever their original idea was, whether it was run a real estate agency or a magazine or a restaurant, and then they find, oh, I have to learn how to do all this other stuff, and I have to be in compliance. And
you said there were two options. You said you could hire somebody to manage and you just keep doing, or, basically learn to manage and develop that skill set. Bringing it back to the EMyth, the whole topic of that book is the highest, best use of your time is not doing, however important you think what you're doing is in your business. If you're working in like a job, nobody is going to care about running your business and growing your business the way you do. So, given those two options, I think you're out of your mind if you try to hire somebody to run your business while you just kind of do the billable work in your business. I think the only reasonable path to take is to try to train yourself in those managerial skill sets.
Well,
and that's hard.
it is hard, and I think, frankly, for some people, the highest and best use of their time really is being a doer. I think there are instances where, if you're really good at it, lawyers come to mind. Funny, I'm sitting with one. But if you're really good at practicing law, and you can charge a billable rate of some magnitude that achieves all your financial goals, but you also want to have this company, maybe an office manager is a good place to start. Because, again, the highest and best use of your time might be practicing law.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I guess there's a difference between an office manager and a CEO, right?
Right.
So there's the first hire any lawyer should make is an office manager, right? Because, until you start getting associate attorneys, someone's got to bill. And until you start getting partners, someone's got to be the best lawyer around. But there's no one else other than you that can really be the CEO of your business. And well, unless you've got a wonderful wife that's working with you, I suppose, which I've been trying to convince my wife to do that for years. And she won't.
That sounds like another offline conversation. Dawn and I have managed to work together well because it comes down to trust and division of responsibilities, right? She never looks over my shoulder and says, I think the debit should go there. And I don't look at her and say, well, how many phone calls did you make today?
Sure.
You just trust the other person to get their work done. But we do have a scheduled weekly staff meeting just to bring everybody into the loop on what has been transpiring.
Well, and I think that's the key to growing, whichever path you choose, whether you want to be the rock star trial lawyer that can charge $700 an hour, or you want to be the CEO and hire trial lawyers that maybe charge a little less. Whichever path you choose, it all comes down to having the right people that you hire, right, and then trusting them to do their jobs and not micromanaging it. Because if you're micromanaging a team of 15 people, then you're still stuck in your business and you don't have time to, come up with the next big vision.
Sure. Well, anytime you bring the phrase micromanaging,
it's always a negative.
It's always negative, and something is not going as well as it should.
Yeah, it's a loaded term. You're making a value judgment with that phrase. So you have to do some sort of management. There's the right amount of management to do it.
Right, but even hiring is a developed skill, and until you develop it on your own, you may need to outsource that piece of your business and work with a consultant who helps you find good people and can bring you up to speed on how to do this yourself, or you may just keep that consultant on forever and they can do some initial screening and then tell you, here's 3 candidates who will fit the bill.
Sure, and that's, what's your experience been, starting from probably you and Dawn working together to now having to develop those management skills when you have an accounting background? I have a law background. I didn't go to business school. I had to kind of read a lot of books, and the books didn't teach me nearly enough. What was your experience like transitioning from a worker to a manager?
Well, I think one of the advantages I have coming into business on my own later than you did is that I had a chance to develop some of those skills on someone else's nickel. Working for large companies, you get put into supervisory and management positions.
It probably gave you some training.
Some training, some was harsher than others. You know, there was the whole Marine Corps officer thing where I'm not quite sure how many times I heard, "What now, Lieutenant?" You know, make a decision and never not do anything.
Elaborate on that. I haven't heard this.
You have to look at the situation that you're faced with. You have these assets. You're trying to accomplish this. How are you going to do it? Let's figure it out. Let's do something, because even if it starts out incorrectly, at least you have some momentum and you can adjust as you go along. But if you sit back here and never do anything,
wait for the facts to develop further.
You never get anywhere towards your goal.
What do you think? Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I do agree with it. I thought it was a unique training ground. Like I say, it's nice that now no one screams at me.
Yeah, I think I think the Rich Dad Poor Dad guy, right? Kiyosaki. I think one of his things. Our first episode of this podcast was called "Fail Faster." Right. So get out there, try it. Best case scenario, it'll be famously successful. Worst case scenario, you'll fail, learn a lesson, do another iteration, and try again.
Well, that's exactly it, right? We don't want to do the same thing again. You know, on the failure side, we go, okay, what happens if we tweak it and we try this? Will this lead to better? Will it lead to famously successful? But sitting back, doing nothing, never works.
That's when I feel most paralyzed as a business owner is when I've identified a problem, but I've also identified that I need more time to pass to let it play out to make a decision, and that happens sometimes. So all right, let's say July, we're making less money than I thought we would in July, right? And if I had a great bookkeeper that could kind of help me analyze that would be fantastic. But sometimes you have to wait till the end of the month, see how things play out, or see if I've got a problem with an employee not being productive enough, I need to give a warning, wait for 3 months, see what happens, and wait for the data to come in. And that's the problem. I'm one of those, like, let's act, we'll clean up later and figure it out. But sometimes you have to just kind of wait for more facts to come in, and that always stresses me out when I have to do that, because I always want to jump now and, ready, fire, aim, right?
Yeah, I've had managers like that. I can't say I ever enjoyed the experience. But, going back to the employee discipline track, you don't have to go from 0 to 60 overnight, but you can say, okay, you have a conversation, we're having an issue, what's your side of it, and we're starting to gather facts, and then you can say, okay, here's the initial plan, and we'll follow up in 2 weeks, and maybe things are just getting better, maybe things aren't, but you gather more information. But I don't know.
Yeah, maybe break it off into smaller time periods.
You use that big 3 month span with not much happening, and now we're talking where I'd rather do more.
That's a good idea. That's it's a better way to do it.
Hopefully you'll never have to use that, technique. But in case it comes up, there's another way to look at it.
Well, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because I'm pretty awesome at marketing. I'm a very good lawyer. Managing people, and I've always been very honest about this, managing people is like not my favorite thing to do. I don't know many people that got into business that are like, I just love managing people. But some people develop skills at it and become good leaders, and that's personally one of the things I'm trying to, one of my goals going forward is to become better at leadership and managing. And it's a lot of inward looking, because usually when there's a problem with your team, the buck stops at the top.
Well, so. You're definitely part of the equation. You have to, what have I explained to them? What have I asked of them? It's like, oh, right. I was speaking to someone just the other day, and they were talking about managing their staff, and they actually said, oh, I just said that in my head. I never actually told my employees about it. So well, they never did it.
You'd be surprised how often that happens, where maybe that's an extreme case, but where you haven't communicated it fully to the entire team.
Exactly.
You've got your strategic plan, but you're not getting the message out to the whole team, so they don't know what the plan is. But yeah, it's been the most challenging process in the world, learning
you have
to
so
manage.
many areas competing for your time, especially when you're in growth mode. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden you have the existing clients, and we have the 2 new clients, and we have, my tax accountant needs something from me.
And you're marketing, and you're networking, and you're getting your taxes done, and
Right. And you have a growth opportunity because of your marketing, so now you need to actually start talking to a banker about how we're going to fund things for this growth opportunity.
I find that strategic planning really helps with that. So like I dump things into buckets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got my marketing, my business development, my legal quality side, and operations. And within each of those buckets, I usually have like 3 things in a given quarter that I'm trying to accomplish. 3 big goals. I try not to make it more than that.
Okay.
Within those 3 big goals, I've got a bunch of tactics. And then those tactics become like my to-do list. And
Right.
those go right on the to-do list, and revisiting that. Because at first, before I learned to plan strategically, it was just like whack-a-mole. Things were...
Whoever's screaming loudest
Yeah.
is the new priority of the day.
And you start focusing on one thing, and you feel like the other things are just falling into chaos. But that's one of the skills you learn as your business grows is keeping all the balls in the air, and it becomes more fun when you're not juggling anymore, and not just trying to keep them in the air, but you're trying to like knock them all out of the park at the same time.
Sure.
And getting on offense. So
Yeah, and even recognizing that there's more balls in play is something I think newer businesses struggle with.
that's true.
And just setting time for planning, right? How can I have time for planning when I don't have time to do these 17
Right.
things that are
You got to
already on my-
prioritize it and make it part of your routine.
You got to prioritize it. You need to start, and part of that is you start needing to think, maybe I do need some help,
Sure.
and it's time to get help one way or another, whether it's a mentor or a consultant, or we're going to delegate something. Delegation is a tough skill for a lot of people to learn. It's my baby. I love it. It's growing.
Yeah, that's one of the most important things
Right.
to learn, and you can't grow until you start delegating.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you were counting them off on your fingers. You got to use a combination of all of them. You need to hire an office manager. You need to delegate some of the work you're doing. You need to outsource the stuff that it doesn't make sense. Like bookkeeping, it may not make sense
Yeah.
to tie up your office manager's time with bookkeeping if what you really need him or her to do is hire employees and manage employees. And and having a business coach might be a good idea if you're getting in your own head, and hiring consultants to do certain. So it's a combination of all of those things, and the name of the game, I think, is just finding a way to accomplish more in the 40 hours a week, or however, if you're a business owner, the 70 hours a week that you work.
Yeah. I think 40 hours covered yesterday. But, it really is, and it's, as a matter of fact, we've booked all of Friday afternoon for a strategic planning meeting. Coincidentally, that we need to see, okay, where are we? Where on our plan? Where do we want to be? What corrections do we need to make? What additions do we need? Yeah, I talk to new entrepreneurs, and you have this huge list of things you need to do. So you break it up into things you're going to do, things you're going to outsource, and things that never really get done.
Yeah. If you put it on the C list,
Yeah.
the C list eventually becomes irrelevant.
Right. Right. That was a good idea 2 years ago. But
Yeah.
I don't know that I need to worry
And I
about
say
that.
C list, like A has to be done today, B is time
sure,
sensitive,
yeah.
C is like not time sensitive. If it's on my C list, it just will never happen.
Yeah. Might as well just crumple the C list up right now and focus on your A's and B's.
Well, Elliot, thanks so much for taking the time and sharing with us today. How can people reach you if they need some bookkeeping help, or if they'd like to network with you?
Oh, well, we're on the web, www.supportingstrategies.com. My cell, you can always find me at the Naperville Business Lounge.
All right, well, thank you for being here. If you'd like to schedule a free consultation with me, we do almost every area of law. You can call me at 630-324-6666. That's 630-324-6666. And if you'd like supplemental cancer insurance, you can go to seizeyourbusiness.com and get all of Jim Waszak's information. You can also find at seizeyourbusiness.com a whole bunch of other videos and podcasts. We've done, over 100 episodes and had some really good interviews. Go to learn-about-law.com for my legal podcast blog and video blog, and makingrealestatefun.com for our real estate podcast and video blog. Thanks for being here, Elliot.
Thanks, Kevin.
And thanks for listening.